In this module, we are testing Apex that calls external APIs without touching the internet. This is where mocking becomes essential. Once you understand the pattern, callout heavy code stops feeling special and start feeling testable in the same deliberate way as any other Apex logic. Here is the core problem. If your test makes a real HTTP call, Salesforce blocks it and gives you the error. Method defined as test method do not support web service callouts. Salesforce blocks real callouts in test for good reason. External APIs are unpredictable. Test needs to be deterministic. You cannot reliably test scenarios like a 500 error against a live API. And your suite should not depend on an external system being up. The solution on this slide is the right one. Mock the HTTP response. HTTP callout is the interface that makes callout testing possible. Salesforce provided as a built-in interface with one method, HTTP response. Your mock class receives the outgoing request and returns a fake HTTP response that you control. Meanwhile, your production code still calls HTTP.send normally. Salesforce intercepts that call, route it to your mock, and the production code never knows the difference. Here we create two mock classes for two scenarios. The success mock returns a 200 status code, set the content type to JSON, and returns a body with a transaction ID like TXN12345 and a status of success. The failure mock returns a 402 errors and a body with an error like insufficient funds. That is the power of mock classes. You decide exactly what the external system says back, so the tests become deterministic by design. Test.setMock method is the handoff point that makes the whole pattern work. In the example, we create an order, start the test, register payment success mock before the callout happens, call payment callout service, and then stops the test. After that, we assert the response object itself. Response success should be true and the transaction ID should be TXN12345. Then we also query the database and assert that order payment status was updated to paid. The full sequence matters. Register the mock before the callout, then assert both the returned response and the database side effect. Always test both paths. For the success scenario, the mock returns a 200 with a transaction ID, and the test should verify that response success is true, that the transaction ID is TXN12345, and that the order payment status becomes paid. For the failure scenario, the mock returns a 402 with an error, and the test should verify that response success is false, that response error message is set, and the order payment status becomes failed. Failure handling code is equally important. If you only test success, you are half tested. This is an example mock where we have a class called payment callout service test. It implements the HTTP callout mock. Then it sets the body, it sets the status code. Then over here, we are going to create an order. We are going to make a mock call, and based on the result, we are going to assert. So if I scroll to the right, so transaction ID should match the mock, order should be marked paid. So this is how you can make a mock call for HTTP.